Okay,
Are we live?
we live. Just gotta make sure
There
that
there
we
you go.
are on the YouTube.
We live. We live. Oh, goodness.
We live.
Let's let people come in. Go ahead, come in, everybody. We about to be unfiltered tonight. Come into the assignment podcast. We're talking about one moment, two families changed forever. The Carmelo Anthony trial. Come in, everybody. Come in. Well, I'm gonna go on mute until we have the YouTube up and let people come in.
Manifest. They need vantage points.
Hey, I looked at the YouTube. It looked like the YouTube is up. Is it?
I think it is. Trying to go in from a different account.
Oh, okay. Because I was
Just to
just gonna.
make sure.
That's fine. I probably should have had. I probably should have had some music playing or something while we wait. But it's cool. It's cool. It's cool.
Um,
It's cool. It's
yeah, we
cool. It's
live.
cool.
We live. We don't have any viewers yet, but we're definitely live. I'm a I'm gonna start recording once we get started.
Okay. So hey everybody. Hey everybody. Is there an echo?
I don't think it's an echo.
You don't hear echo?
No.
I kind of do. Hold on, real quick, cause you know they be all on my stuff. Let me go over to the YouTube. So if I go on the YouTube, should I be able to see? Okay, so I
Yeah.
can see that we're live. YouTube, should I be able to see?
Yeah, we're definitely live. We don't have any viewers yet, but that's because I
That's fine.
don't.
That's fine, cause you're recording anyway, so we're gonna be able to run it back.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go ahead and yeah, we can go ahead and make it. All right, hey everybody, greetings. Thank y'all for tuning in tonight to the assignment podcast. We have we're gonna just introduce ourselves. My name is Tamara. I am the co-founder of the Dallas Freedom Act, and I am also a third generation Dallasite from the greatest city on earth, Oak Cliff, Texas. Please stand up. Yeah, and I've just been doing work in the city of Dallas around civil rights, transformational change. and different avenues of justice for almost a decade now. I was on the ground at the Carmelo Anthony trial since day one. I was in the courtroom 4 days and actually on the ground doing the actions outside of the courthouse for 3 days. So I want to thank y'all for being here. I want to allow my co-host to introduce herself.
Hey y'all, hey. So I'm Coretta Brown. I am out of Missouri City, Texas, by way of Houston, Texas, South Park. Um, my organization is Bridges to Empowerment. We are a nonprofit that exists for reducing recidivism and minimizing the amount of people that get incarcerated every year. And we focus on voter engagement and youth. We do a lot of work with the youth. So, how you been? What's up, Tamara? What's up, sis?
Hey, so look, let me tell y'all something real quick. If y'all is in the Fort Bend area, if you are in Houston, y'all make sure that y'all go and give my girl Coretta Brown some love. She's not new to this. She is true to this and making sure that our next generation has the resources, and the proxy to be able to stand up for themselves and also understand that they have support, right? So I'm so happy that she's willing to jump on this live with me. Make sure y'all follow both of us. All right, I'm gonna give you my information. The with two E's, the Assignment Podcast on Facebook and the Assignment Podcast on YouTube and on Twitch. We will put that information in the comments so y'all can be able to follow us. And what's your handles, Coretta?
So, my handles are Coretta underscore Brown on Instagram. It's the hot girl underscore advocate on TikTok. And y'all can find me Coretta Brown on Facebook and Bridges, the number two, empowerment, everywhere except for Twitter. I'm even on Isaac Hayes' platform,
Fan base. Oh,
fan base, because we gotta support Black social media.
yes. Now my question is, how do our folks put comments in this chat if they have a question?
So I believe that they would have to go to the YouTube channel and then just I believe they would just post a comment in the YouTube channel and we can be able to see. I see your comment. You can post questions here.
Yes, you can. Not can't. Heavy on the can. So yeah, so let's just start off. I mean, I know that we came here to talk about the Carmelo Anthony trial. That this is 1 week from the day that we got the horrible, the worst remedy I've ever seen from a Texas court, giving a juvenile offender. At the time that it happened, he was 17. So giving a juvenile offender with no record, not even one arrest, not a ticket, you feel me? 35 years, which is a lifetime, you know what I mean, for murder. So yeah, we're here. We're gonna be answering questions. We're gonna be having a conversation about where does the community belong in all of this. We know that we have heard a lot of back and forth about the legal team, but where does the community belong in all of this, right? Because there's some things that have happened, like bullying. We really want to talk about it. The bullying aspect of this. Coretta, did you want to dive into that a little bit?
Oh yeah, that's right up my alley because I said from the very beginning. I said that when it first dropped on social media and it was like this kid um stabbed the guy, and the man, the media, the the media just went and ran with it, like he was just this aggressive person who packed his bags and intentionally went to go and stab somebody. Then we find out later on that just wasn't the fact. Um, we find out that he had been pushed. It was it was raining. They had been trying to force him from under the tent into the rain, and he had been invited under that school tent. And it's tragic because I don't think people really understand just how much a bully can impact your mental health in a
Exactly.
moment.
Exactly.
Um, we see school shootings happen often, right? Nobody addresses that the school shooting is happening because these students were bullied. These students didn't just wake up one morning and say, "Oh, you know what? Today is a good day to go kill somebody." And that was the same with, in my opinion, that was the same with Carmelo. He didn't wake up that morning and just said, "Hey, you know what? I'm ready
Right.
to go. I'm ready to go murk somebody."
And that's the foundation for murder one, right? And I know we're not getting specifically into the legalities of all of this because you have had DAs, assistant DAs, ex DAs, judges, ex judges, lawyers, bar, bar attorneys, like I mean, look, every legal aspect of this case has been shoved down our throats for a week. I know that we're here for the community aspect of this, but I mean the murder one is something that you is a charge you give somebody that has a heavy premeditation, a heavy intention, right? And so for murder one to be something that the state would not budge on, because even the lawyers have told us the first thing they would have did was try to decrease the charge, right? The first thing that a lot of people are saying is why murder one, why murder one? Well, this is something that they didn't want to budge on, and I think it was a specific reason for that. I think it was bogus ass reason. I mean, we have seen the same cases out of Texas. Even if you, what Kaysen, there's a dude named Kaysen in Texas that just had the same type of case. He was able to he stabbed somebody too, and he told the young man, his classmate, I'm gonna, if you're at school tomorrow, I'm gonna get you. He told him, premeditated it all.
I'm
And
going to get you, not touch me and find out. He
right,
clearly
right.
said, I'm going to
Exactly.
get you.
Exactly. Premeditated and stabbed that young man and killed that young man. And this boy walked away with self-defense. He walked away with manslaughter, right? And he's appealing his manslaughter charge right now. But that's manslaughter. Now
But
we're
my
talking
whole, but
about
my
murder
thing,
one, bro. Murder one,
but,
y'all.
and that's my thing. My thing is they went past criminal negligence. They went past involuntary manslaughter. They went past voluntary manslaughter. They went past third degree murder. They went past second degree murder, and they just started at first degree. Like you could tell
Budge
that.
at all. Wouldn't budge at all. Anytime, like wouldn't for me, the defense should have absolutely went out for a lesser charge, and they should have fought like hell, representing their client mercilessly until it was changed. The fact that the state kept objecting, that just shows you that they were out for blood. They were out for blood. It was all about making sure that they can get that murder one to stick.
But my thing is, this is my question. Why were they out for blood like that? Like, what would be the reason that they felt the need to be out for blood? And my thing is, As soon as it happened, it was polarized.
I think
As
it's the same. I think it's the same reason that people's existence is polarized in the United States of America. I think you can't say. I think you can say why were they out for blood, or why were they out for that level of vengeance, or of that level of punishment. Because the reason why they wanted to go out for murder one is because that's life, right? That's life in prison if they can get it. But I don't think you can speak to that without speaking to the fact that of the long history of us existing in a system but having different outcomes depending on what you look like. You know what I mean? Your race. I know a dude,
yeah,
I know a young man in 2023 in Prosper, Texas, who shot and killed a black student, led the police on a car chase and foot pursuit. He was sentenced to 4 years. He only did 2 years. The only difference between him and Carmelo is that Alec Adamson is white. So I think you can't even you can't even utilize the why they were you can't say that they didn't force this to be about race. The moment that you don't give people the equality and equity to utilize the law in the way that they are legally allowed, you know what I mean? Like our it says life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, right? That if you don't give people the access to do that, then you immediately make it about race. And I'm telling people that all the time. There's no way to not make it about race because the way that they set up this trial and this case made it about race. When you
honestly, it was made about race before the trial even happened. It was
right,
made about race
the day it
the
happened,
way it happened.
right?
Like as soon as it happened, as soon as it hit social media, the first thing was a black guy murdered a white kid.
The headlines didn't say
The
Mello
headlines
in
was
Austin.
crazy.
The headline said black teen.
The headlines was crazy.
They were crazy.
And when you start out, when the media start out with the ethnicity, that's what did it. That's what did it. Why couldn't they just start out say teen teen slain in at teen slain in fight gone wrong? Why couldn't they frame it like that? It was framed in such a way to polarize community on both sides.
Yeah, it's
It
definitely
wouldn't
was
work.
cause. It definitely causes distraction and division. But we got to stop not holding the media accountable when these media pawns, when these media pawns are, paid for. When these media, these folks in the media, these Fox Fours, these CNNs, these CNBCs, these MSNBCs, and whomever, the breaking news, CBS, like a lot of these media companies, they only care about breaking news headlines. And we got to see that. A breaking news headline is what's going to get them more clicks, more likes, more visits. So that's why they polarized it, right? They polarized it to cause division, like Mandy Zapata said, and it's another distraction to cause division. Absolutely. Because like Carmelo Daddy said, this was a teen issue. Why the hell are grown ass, big ass adults coming and making this into a race issue? This is a teenager issue. We have been having teen fights and teen issues and teen problems for the as long as since me and you have been born. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like at the end of the fucking day, the media only gave a fuck about a breaking news headline, and they didn't care. And that's when the witch hunt started. The witch hunt started on April 2nd, 2025.
I would go so far as to say that the media is responsible. Is that like initially the media is responsible? Like you said, they went for the clicks. They went for the clicks. They set up the bait. They went for the clicks. They polarized ethnicities against each other, and they didn't talk about the true situation, which was before politics, before race, or any legal arguments, right? Like a young man had died, right? But the reason that that young man had died, right? They didn't worry about the circumstances behind it,
Right.
right? They didn't wait. And that's another thing with these breaking news is that they don't take the time out to wait on the clear facts to come out. And ironically, that can have that can cause a jury to be biased. Because everybody that was on that jury, you cannot tell me that they didn't know anything at all about this about the case. You can't tell me that they hadn't heard their neighbors talk about it. You can't tell me that they had not talked about it with their neighbors. You cannot tell me that they didn't see the news before the trial started. You can't pay me to believe that. You just can't, because it was such a polarized nationwide um story. Like, it got quiet for a little while, and then all of a sudden, like, it got quiet, and then when the trial started, you heard some buzz, like y'all was out there, boots on the ground. So you was hearing the buzz from y'all, but it wasn't until the verdict came in that the media ran wild with it again. And it's
Well,
just
I mean, would you need to listen? This is the thing. What I do know, and that's been proven, is um that one the Metcalf father immediately went out and hired Sarah J. Fields, right? And I don't know what kind of experience she has. I have no idea what kind of media licenses, or I have no idea what kind of education. I don't know how she became an expert
so who is she?
in I don't know how she became an expert in smear campaigns, but I know that she brought along a lot of people, independent media, right? And on day two, so we'll talk about who Sarah J. Fields is, right? But for right now, I want to talk about, like, on day two, they were doxing Drew Anthony and Kayla on Facebook, meaning that all of their personal information was online by day two. That's April 3rd, right? That's
Wow.
April 3rd. How do you get doxxed that quick, right? So, but we do know that Sarah is we do know that Sarah is a bully. We do know that Sarah J. Fields is a child in danger, um, somebody who abandons children with no intent to keep kids safe. That's what we do know. Why do we know that? Because in 2014, March of 2014, she abandoned her child due to her drug problem, right? So a lot of people talking about, well, it's about the right and wrong. Well, if it is about right and wrong, then let's go right for right and wrong for wrong. So why would the Metcalf family hire somebody like her, right? Why would the Metcalf family hire somebody that went to jail for abandoning their children because of their drug habits? Why would somebody hire somebody like this? Now, I'm not saying that people can't be vindicated. I'm not saying people can't have second chances, but you would think if she had so much going on with her family and trying to get her kids back, that she would pour the rest of her life into being a good mama. But no, because she is a fucking racist, right? Because she's a fucking racist, she wants to worry about what black being black people's business. And it is something about chalk people that love to stay in a black person's business.
Oh Lord, she said chalk people.
That love to stay in a black people's business. But what I will tell you, the racist bigot she is, she has no licenses or certifications or degrees. She just knows how to make a lot of social media accounts. She just knows how to tell people to make a lot of social media accounts. She just knows how to be a Karen because that's how she was raised, to flip narratives and flip words. And that's what she's been doing since April 2nd, 2025 to the Anthony family. A lot of people don't know that Sarah J. Fields and her followers showed up. Sarah J. Fields had people that support her show up to Drew Anthony's job.
Now, tell me, this Sarah J. Fields, who, like, what is her role? Who is she?
She is the person that is over. She's the independent social media reporter. So she's literally a fucking influencer. Why can't she go and get licensed?
Oh,
Why
she's
can't
an
she?
influencer.
She's a fucking influencer who has a large following, no different than these, no different than a lot of these racist bigot influencers that just make a whole bunch of accounts and bring other people on to validate them. She brings on independent media like Christina Aguayo, like she has her own media firm and things like that. But
So
Sarah
basically,
has no accreditation. She has no accreditation in the media field. She is a
so
social media influencer.
So basically, they took a social media influencer,
Yep.
gave her money, and
Yep.
paid her to spread misinformation so
Yes.
that
Spreading
this,
unfounded,
right,
inflammatory accusations about Carmelo and the Anthony family and the
yeah.
circumstancing surrounding Austin's untimely death. Right?
Because like didn't people like
Shameful.
authorities or what have you, they actually spent like months trying to combat false information that false information gonna spread faster than real information.
Yeah, and what she does, she uses her, so she knows how to go get people who got access. Why do we know that? Because she had a homegirl that worked in the clerk, the worked for the clerk at Collin County Courthouse who was feeding her information on the Anthony family. How was she able to dox them on April 3rd, 2025? Because she had a clerk who was feeding her information. That clerk, Morgan or Megan, the clerk's name was either Morgan or Megan. She's now fired. Let me say that again. That clerk that worked at Collin County Courthouse is now fired. Right? So the thing about it is that she knows how to go get people to give her leverage to get access to things because her record won't allow her to get access to things. Her record won't allow her to get access to things because she was jailed for child abandonment due to
So
her
somebody jailed for child abandonment is up here talking about a child being a murderer.
that part. But they
I know
up
you
here, not
lying.
just talking. If she was just talking, it'll be great. She's actually harassing, showing up at people's jobs, getting people fired, following people. Like, when did she get a private investigator license?
So
When did
what
she get
influence?
certification?
Okay, so wait, let's go back. Let's go back real quick. How did the Metcalf family get the money to pay for her?
So let me
And what would have been the reason that they felt the need? Because some cases that's not high profile, they not going to get a social media influencer. So what was the reason for them to even need to go and get a social media influencer?
So here's what we keep forgetting. We we keep forgetting that the Metcalf family had a GoFundMe for Austin too. Did you remember that?
I remember them having two GoFundMe's, one for the father and one for
Honoring Austin.
right, one for the
So they
father.
so they had one honoring Austin, right? And I'm not saying they shouldn't have had anything. I mean, I really don't care what you decide to do. You lost a twin.
You lost the
I think
son.
I think I think all death is hard, right?
It is.
All
All
death is
death
hard.
is hard. That's no joke. Like,
So I'm not saying what you don't deserve to have, but what you can't do is tell somebody else what they can't have, and that's how we got here. We got here because black autonomy versus white authority. Sarah J. Fields thought she could stop Carmelo's GoFundMe, but nobody said anything about Austin's GoFundMe. That
Well,
raised
they didn't say. I mean, the way they looked at it, they didn't want to. They didn't want to stop. They didn't. They didn't want to stop Austin's GoFundMe because Austin was the one that had passed away.
it
I
was six
think the
hundred and
greater. I
twenty-five. It was
think
$625,000.
right. I think the greater conversation here is they wanted to stop um Carmelo's GoFundMe because they did not want Carmelo to have enough money to be able to afford decent they didn't want Carmelo to be able to have enough money to afford a decent attorney. That's what I believe. They didn't want Carmelo's family, like as soon as Carmelo's family started raising the money, I think uh, they was getting all kinds of death threats. Like you said, doxing, people coming by their house and all of that. Of course, they're going to want to get a new car so that a new car, of course, they're going to want to move into another place. The family was already pretty well to do. This was not a poor family. Okay. The family was already pretty much well to do. So they pretty much moved into a house that was similar to the house that they already had, is what I understood. But they did that because
If you're being stalked by Sarah J. Fields and her attorney and Jeff Metcalf and all his connections, like if you're being stalked, you gotta move multiple times. You have to move multiple times because you have to keep your family safe. They have multiple children, and they also have to make sure that they can take care of themselves because there was job loss. You know what I mean? Like whole job loss because of
right.
this.
Wait, you said there was job loss? Now I didn't know that there was job loss. Tamara,
I'm sorry, say it again. What'd you say, sis?
I didn't know there was job loss. Who lost their job?
Well, what happened was Sarah J. Fields sent people, her supporters went to Drew Anthony's job at Nissan. He worked at Nissan. It was a mob of people went in there, tried to tell Nissan that y'all have a person working here whose son is a murderer and all this other kind of stuff. Came in
Before
there.
see that there you go right there. That's what I was trying to get to right there. Was they had already convicted him before he even had an opportunity for a fair trial.
That's it. So
They had
why
they
do we
had
expect
already
he
convicted
would
him.
get a one? Why do we expect he would get a fair trial if they already convicted him?
Yeah, they had already convicted him, and I know that there are like progressive people who have done who have caused people to lose their jobs, right?
Mm-hmm.
But never, from what I know, never have the people stop the person from being able to afford legal defense, right? Like I don't remember ever hearing about uh George Zimmer people getting George Zimmerman fired, or people getting, well, I mean,
Yeah, no, there's officers, officers after officers after officers after officers, people who have raised money for doing both. I mean, you remember that lady raised how many hundreds of thousands, maybe even close to a million for her calling a child,
an N word.
right, and raised all that goddamn money. Derek Chauvin, he raised all that
Raised all
goddamn
that
money.
money.
So I mean,
And nobody stopped them from having their GoFundMe account.
exactly,
Nobody protested it, right? Like
exactly.
we talked noise about it, but we didn't
Email the
like,
CEO or email the
right.
CFO and say take it down because there's been two They have not been able to raise any more money for the appeal. I mean, they have not been able to get to use a crowdsourcing option to get money on the appeal because everyone keeps reporting it, but we know that it's being led by the crazies like Sarah J. Fields and
But you know what? I
idiots.
feel like I feel like anybody that really have money that want to step in and do something, they don't
Right,
need a crowdfunding source. They can just pay
celebrities.
the attorney directly.
Right.
And nobody can do nothing. Like I think that's a conversation that nobody is having,
Right.
right? Like if Cardi B really did, if Cardi B, was like, yeah, I wanna pay for the attorney, right? And they found an attorney, she could just pay the attorney directly. It don't have to go through a crowdfunding source, right? I feel like if people really wanted to, so if not really wanted to, because we all do, I just feel like it's other ways and other avenues aside from having a crowdfunding source. Because until we get a black-owned crowdfunding source, they gonna always do this, and that speaks to us not having our system set up right. Like I think what was it? The Asian guy who said, "Yeah, go ahead and boycott the Asian community because y'all don't have nothing, no way, no how." Right? Um, I just feel like, shoot, why can't they just Zelle? Right? Like, how you gonna stop people from Zelling somebody? How you gonna stop people from going and making cash donations? How you gonna stop people from uh, just making donations, just taking up donations,
Yeah, I mean,
right?
there's numerous. No, I absolutely agree with you. There's numerous um, small funds that are popping up. You know, you have Sherelle Hodge. She's raising funds through her small through Beacon, and I guess Mr. Anthony, the family gave her the clear to do that. And then
Hmm.
also, hold on real quick.
But I think like the thing, why is you good child?
Girl, what did I do, girl? I'm sorry, girl.
Why are you dressed like Pikachu?
Girl, because this is a Pikachu. I got a Pikachu onesie.
No,
No, it's a
ma'am.
Pikachu onesie. I love
No,
my
ma'am.
me. Look, anybody out there, if y'all want to
What
give
is
me
Ti
a
son?
birthday,
What is Ti son King? Didn't he have on a
if
Pikachu?
y'all want to give me something for my birthday that is coming in about 3 months, I love onesies. But yeah, no. So Sherelle Hodge is doing a small fundraiser, and we can put that in the chat. I actually put the link to that fundraiser in the chat, and then also the mom does have a Zelle. So if anybody wants to donate or anything like that, you know, it would have to be in private message because we're trying to make sure that we protect the family as they
Hmm.
deserve. But if you all absolutely want to, we're more than happy to give y'all the Zelle in private message. We are not putting anything. We're not putting anything online. So if you are requesting that, we are asking that you do not share it online in solidarity to support and also keep the family safe. They have been compromised enough by crazy bigots, racist bigots, and also people who do not think that self defense is a right that Black people carry, and it is. So
It
let's get
really
into
is.
it. Let's get into it.
So let's get into it. How do we stop? How do we stop? How do we prevent something like this? Like, what could have prevented this from happening? Right? Like, we getting into self defense, right? But
Right.
why did it have to be so? Like, why did he have to defend himself?
And so what I'm gonna say, and what I'm gonna say, and I'm sure my pineapple onesie will agree with me. What I'm gonna say is we get to these spaces again because there's a problem having autonomy over one's self, blackness, right? Black autonomy allows us to not be bothered by people we don't want to be bothered by. Autonomy allows you to be where you're going to be treated equally, be treated fairly, allow you to go where you want to go and do what you want to do as long as you ain't putting yourself or anybody else in danger or harming yourself or anybody else. So my thing is, if they would have allowed Karmelo to be his black ass autonomous self and leave him alone and let him sit under a tent that is not abnormal for football captains. Let me say that again. He's the football captain, right? So being a football captain, it is not abnormal to go to other people's tents. That's why Eddie Para called him over because he knew him, right? Even though it was at another school, the
Okay,
coach.
so explain to us who Eddie. Explain to us who Eddie Powell is.
So again, I don't want to get heavy into the legalities because we're talking about how the community could shift and make transformational change. But Eddie was a witness that went up on the third day of state testimony, right? And so state testimony happened on June 6th. I will never forget that day because that horrible judge John Roach Jr. had us come to court on a Saturday. Have you ever been to court on a Saturday?
I didn't even know they had Saturday court.
Oh, but they make exceptions when it's involving us, right? So they had a Saturday court from 9 to 5. Are you kidding me?
Wow.
And I know they did it so people wouldn't show up, but we showed up anyway, right? We showed up and we were out there on the ground and inside the courtroom. So he was one of the last few state witnesses that called up. Now you know the state rested on June 6th at about 2:15, right? So at
Right.
about 2:15, the state rested. Eddie was called up, and they were going through how Karmelo got into the tent. They were going through the interaction that caused Karmelo to use self-defense against Austin and Hunter and whomever else were messing with him and jumping on him. Um, Eddie said he didn't know Karmelo. Eddie said that they hung out from time to time, but he doesn't know him. This is what the state is telling Eddie,
Hmm.
right? The state is asking him to answer questions. So once the defense got up and cross-examined Eddie, once the defense got up and cross-examined Eddie, they basically showed Eddie 20 exhibits of photos of him and Karmelo.
Oh wow.
So they were like, "How do you
So
not
then,
know? How do
so
you
wait,
not know?"
wait. 20 exhibits tell me somebody wasn't telling the truth under oath.
Perjury. And why didn't the defense file that? I would have put every last one of them under a perjury. Every last one of them. I would have made a new lawsuit just for all the perjury.
That's wild. Like, and on my social media page, because I'm talking about it. I wasn't there, but I'm talking about it.
I
And
was there, so you
I
can.
keep hearing people, tell me like, why don't I, how they say it, they were like, why don't I believe 21 witnesses?
The same reason why I don't believe people. The same reason why I don't believe the Confederates, because the Confederates wanted to keep slavery. The same reason why I don't believe the British, because the British wanted to continue slavery. The same reasons why I don't believe the motherfucking police that continuously do fake police reports, right, and purge on record and get caught. The same reason that I don't believe, like, what do you mean? How can you not believe 21 witnesses? Just because it's a group lie doesn't mean it's not a lie.
That not that part. Now that part, sis. Now that part. It's
Just because
not.
it's a group
It's
lie,
it's not. It's
don't
not
change it.
uncommon. But sis, let me ask you this, because the lesson that I feel here, right, is that there was somebody who was bullying, and bullying is like overlook, like when we overlook bullying, when we overlook humiliation, when we overlook peer pressure, when we overlook unresolved trauma, when we overlook anger, when we overlook poor conflict resolution because an adult could have been called. An adult could have been like, "Hey, can you come over here and ask him to move?" Right? Then that leads to that can lead to situations that escalate in a matter of seconds. And so when I be saying like this was a case of bullying gone wrong, right? When I say that, I'm not minimizing a life being taken. I'm not. I'm saying what the heck could have happened to prevent a life from being lost? Because this wasn't murder. This was not murder. Um this was bullying gone wrong. That's what it was. So when you when you talk about self defense, right, sis? What could
Yeah, I mean, but what could have prevented? So let's take everything you just said about what could we have done. How could we have stopped bullying? How could we have, mitigated it? How can we, as parents or admin or educators or whatever you are, what can you do? You can, one, you can flip the roles. I feel like, imagine if a white boy was at a track meet, he's at the top of his class, a talented athlete with two jobs, on his road to graduation. It starts to rain. A friend invites him under a tent to get out of the rain, and two black boys who are bigger than him begin bullying him because he won't move from under their tent. In addition, because he's white, they then attack and jump him for no reason. Like, like what we could do is put ourselves in the shoes of the people that are going through the fucking problem, right? So I think we can look at that and say, if Carmelo feared for his safety while being jumped by two black boys, as if Carmelo was white, for and some he gets stabbed, what would actively be the outcome of this?
there would be a GoFundMe for the white Camelo. There would be prayers and vigils for the black kid that got murdered. Um, no, murder is the wrong word, but there would be prayers and vigilance for the black kid that got killed. There would be high
They would never even
polarization.
use the word murder. They would
Yeah,
never.
I don't want to use the word.
They would say mistake.
Yeah,
A tragic mistake. That's what it would be called.
it would be what I just said. That
Yes,
was a case of bullying gone wrong.
yes. That's would have been the headlines that night, right? That would have been the
Exactly.
headlines that night. A case of bullying gone wrong would have been the breaking news story. A tragic mistake would have been the headline for the news story. But no, because Carmelo was black, they put that first,
And
right?
then okay, so let's go. What do you think young people need to hear right now? Like what do young people, especially like, because that scenario, right, that you just said about two black boys walk up on a white boy and they start bullying him. So
Right,
somebody created a graphic for that, right? Somebody
right,
created a graphic for that.
right,
And I took that graphic and I posted it in one of the Collin County groups.
right.
And when I posted it in the group, you won't believe how many people wanted to not put themselves in that situation.
Wait,
to the
what?
point that they was like, but this is not what happened, and this is not how it happened.
Wow.
And but you know what I'm saying? They was like deflecting. They were deflecting. I'm like, no, let's have this conversation. What if this was it? What if
That's
this
why
was
I
it?
said that's why I said you if you want to say what can we do actively, we can put ourselves in the shoes of others. We can ask a question on what would happen on the opposite side. I am not saying that I'm not saying that we have to maybe change. We don't have to change anything from how it happened. We just have to be able to see it from somebody's point of view. We have to be inclusive enough to see it from another person's point of view. And the reason why it has been made and shrouded to be a black and white and a race issue is because nobody can look outside themselves and see it happening, because it happens all the time. And usually the African American person doesn't survive. So I also think this is something about they're not used to the African American surviving, and they don't care if Austin would have took him out too. They just would have been like, well, at least both of them, you know. But what
They would have been that was bullying gone wrong.
it would have been bullying gone wrong. But like, what is the problem is that Carmelo protected his body. The problem is that Carmelo protected himself. The problem for everybody is that for a lot of racist and or clueless ass uh black people is that they cannot see or fathom self-defense being a right, like RIGHT, a goddamn law. They can't fathom self-defense being a right of people that look like us. And that's the real
So
that's what they don't like. You
so
cannot.
why don't we ever get why can't cause Botham Jones like why can't we ever get self defense? Why can't we have it? Somebody said that maybe as a community we can look out for each other better, even our youth. There were more than just them three boys under that tent. There could have been many points on interference, and that right there is what I agree with. That right there is what I agree with, and I said like
But even if it
somebody
was
could have went and
more,
got an adult. Like somebody could have went and got an adult.
but I also think it was very I think it was very um, reckless. I'm going to call this reckless. I think it's very reckless that there was no coaches under that tent. Now they said that they had a first aid responder. She was a few rows away. No. What I mean is there needs to be a coach under that tent the moment that they set the tent up. Who set the tent up?
So I
Austin
guess
and Hunter and friends.
I guess
Where was the coach? Where was the coach? And then also, like the young lady said, as a community, look out for each other because there's so many interference points. Well, if you look, I said, if we start to look at things from other people's viewpoints, why couldn't them boys understand that Carmelo was being bullied in that moment? Because Eddie said he pulled out his phone. The detective took his phone. The detective took three other people's phones. Why wasn't there a video in Eddie's phone? Because Eddie deleted the video, or the video wasn't there, or the police officer deleted the video. But as a community, we're all supposed to be looking out for each other. So
meaning we gotta go back to the days where you didn't travel by yourself. You
exactly.
all because I mean if Carmelo had two other guys with him
Or if
and
he had,
and
maybe
they
even
was out
somebody
and
he
out
knew. Yeah.
if he had two other friends with him and they was all sitting under the tent together, right? Would that have happened? Would that have happened? I don't think it would have. That's
But it
why I
was
keep
the other
saying
way.
like That's why I keep saying like this was bullying gone wrong. That's why I keep saying
Yeah.
it because
But why couldn't they interfere?
I mean
What would have been so hard for them to interfere and
you
say, why were they recording? This is the problem with like people that the fact that we live in a world where you'll record before you'll resolve. You'll
you're
record
record
before
before you
you'll
resolve.
right. You'll record before you'll come to somebody's
So from
rescue.
what I so from what I heard was the coach had told Austin that he needed to step up as the captain and like show more leadership. But
Well, see, that's not what the coach said
what
on
I
the
don't
stand
think
though.
but what I don't think was told by any one of them was that every confrontation does not require a response. Meaning, if if Austin wanted Carmelo to get up and leave, and Carmelo was like, "Man, it's raining. I'm not going nowhere. I will get up and leave when it stopped raining." Right?
Right, but that's
That was an
autonomy.
opportunity. That was an opportunity for Austin to turn around and walk away.
Right, because who has to listen to you as an authority as a 17-year-old? See, this takes me back to why the hell do you feel like your words get to determine how I move, think, breathe, eat, love, carry myself? We don't have, why can't we have black autonomy? I am not I am not allowing anybody to tell me that I can't have black autonomy. And this is the motherfucking problem. Is that our autonomy ends, it ends where their white authority comes in.
Begins. Our black economy ends where their whiteness begins.
Who gets to tell you that by your words? I see so many white bigots online saying if he just would have done 15 people told him to leave. I don't give a damn if 25 people told him to leave. I've had interactions with white people where a whole group will tell me to do something. I don't gotta listen to their motherfucking ass. The thing about it is, why can't we have autonomy? And that fucking bothers me because that means that y'all don't care that we are protected by the same laws as y'all. Y'all still think that y'all still think y'all have proxy over us. And that is my problem. Because there is no way that even though I don't care what happened, I don't care how many people told him to leave, which I personally think is a lie because the way the state witnesses went up and how they all said, we told him to leave, we told him to leave. Oh, that's bullshit. Because on cross-examination, they proved that Hunter and Austin were started the interaction. They proved that they assaulted him. They proved that they assaulted him. They said that they put their hands on him first.
So
So
if they put that so here's another thing about how what do we teach our young people? Because I saw a Facebook post
keep your
where
damn hands to yourself.
the guy said, it was God said, from here on out, I'm gonna wear this shirt, and this shirt is the message. And in the shirt it said, just walk away. Is that the message that we give to our young black kids? Is that when they get bullied by anybody, but when they get bullied, they just turn around and walk away?
Why do we
And
have
how do we know? And how do we know that if you turn around and walk away, you're not going to be assaulted from the back?
Well, let me tell you something right here. If we want to say that our message should be to tell our boys to turn around and walk away, Cyrus turned around and walked away, and he still got shot in the back. Right? In South
Yeah.
Carolina, right?
Yeah.
So Cyrus turned around and walked away. He got shot in the back. What's his other name? The dude that was leaving the scene and the police officer shot him in the back too. You
Yeah.
can turn around and walk away as many times as you want because guess what Carmelo did? Carmelo tried to get away, but consistently on the stand, doing cross-examination of these lying ass state witnesses, they proved that Hunter pulled Carmelo's hoodie. So even if Carmelo tried to walk away, he got pulled back.
He got pulled back. So that's my point, right? When people say, "Well, just walk away." Okay, people that are looking for trouble, they not gonna let you walk away.
That's it.
They don't want you to walk away.
And
They
those
want
boys are
they want to put their hands on you.
proven
They
bullies.
want to put their anger out on you. They want to put their what's the word I'm looking, cuz they want to put what they was raised on you. They want to put their racism on you. Like at the end of the day,
They want
they
to
want to bully you. A bully wants to
that's
bully you. A
basically it.
bully do not want to let their victim walk away.
Yeah, let's just stick to that because it was a classic case of bullying.
It
The,
was.
they said that there was some online stuff going on before this day. They said that I mean, there's been pictures that have surfaced of some online bullying going on leading up to that. And I think that's the reason why Hunter stood over Carmelo when he was sitting down and said, "I'm going to beat your bitch ass." Now that is something that the state witness came out and said, and also a defense witness came out and said. And let me tell you when. On the third day of the state witness testimony, before they rested at 2:15 on June 6th, a state witness had said that during cross-examination. Then the third witness that the defense had was Jose. Jose, they've been trying to get in contact with Jose for a year because Jose did not want to be a part of the trial. But he came clearly for the defense, he came in support of Carmelo. So he came and he said Hunter stood over Carmelo, which will corroborate the fact that everybody said Carmelo was sitting down on the state side. All witnesses said he was sitting down. And Hunter stood over him and said, "I will beat your bitch ass." And this is before he threw his backpack. So
So
if you threw
so
somebody backpack, how
wait, so people saying so the media ran with what Carmelo said, touch me and find out.
right, because that's the point that they wanted to drill down into the jury who is non-black, right? There
But
was
not, but
American.
not, but Carmelo is not supposed to feel in danger if somebody hover over him and say, "I'ma beat your B ass."
Yeah, he had every right to protect himself. Let me be very clear because I know that there are people who do not feel that self-defense is a right of black people, but we have the same self-defense right in a stand your ground state. There's another layer. Okay?
That's the thing. That's the thing that I don't think that we understand. I don't think we understand as people. Um, Stand your ground is a law that exists in Texas, but stand your ground is not a law that exists for black people in Texas right now.
But okay, so stand your ground is making sure you can stand your ground if you did not provoke the attack, if you did not provoke the assault, and if you are not engaged in illegal activity,
Only if you're
you
non-black.
have no legal duty to retreat. Let me say that.
Only if you are non-black.
Right. But
Only if you're non-black does that exist. If you are black, you supposed
Carmelo
to
Anthony
stand
has
there. If you are black, you supposed to take whatever abuse is coming in your direction. And you know why we gotta go through that? Because we don't vote. That's
now
why we gotta go through that. Because we do not vote.
I don't know about that. I'm going to say I understand why we need more young people to register to vote and get involved in the process. But when it comes to Gen X, baby boomers, and millennials, we're the most registered block and group ethnicity of people in the state of Texas. So
But
I,
it's not enough. But it's not enough. We can say that
but
we're the most.
we've been carrying the democracy for how long? I think it's more than enough.
It's not enough. If it was enough, Texas would at minimum be purple right now.
I
If
know
it
a lot
was
of the big
enough.
cities are purple, but like the entirety is not purple.
I'm talking about the entirety. If it was enough, the entirety would be purple right now. And it's not. And it's not. And the numbers speak for itself. Like
Well,
we need more.
I don't think that. So if we're saying people don't have the right, black people don't have the right to use stand your ground, which
No,
means
I'm not saying that we don't have the right. I'm
that
saying that
they don't
our
have the
right
right.
don't hold up in court.
Our rights don't hold up in court, even if we had increased the voter registration by 15 to 25 fucking percent. I still don't think our rights will hold up in court because I think we live in a world that does not see black people equally. I think that we're the most hated. I think we have no allies. I don't think we have friends like we thought we did. And I think we are the most hated globally. And I think it's because it's easier for us to be the fall guy. It's easier for everybody to gang up on the fall guy. And I don't know if that's changing.
So when
I
I
don't
hear
know if that's changing anytime soon. That's
so
all I'm
Tamara, when I hear us say that, right? What I hear is we have no choice but to tolerate what we get, or
No, we have a choice.
no. When I hear that, we don't, because look at Carmelo, 35 years.
And that's why we're working on an appeal. So, I think we need to be talking about what does it look like for the community to actually focus on this appeal, and how do we get people organized around his rights being completely nullified last week at 340 when he was sentenced to 35 years without using any stand your ground or self-defense claim, which he had a very solid criminal defense claim. Very solid. And I think that is what we organize around. The fact that they completely rushed this speedy trial because racist John Roach Jr., that judge, is not running again, and he's saying he won't be seeking reelection. I
And
think they
that's so
completely rushed
funny.
the trial
Like,
because of FIFA.
like how did that come? Like he just came out of nowhere with that one. But I feel like he came out of nowhere with that one after the advocate came out with auto documents showing that he had been sued for, what was it, sexual harassment or something. But
Well,
we
I mean,
not.
that was the prosecution. But what I
Oh, that
will
was the
say about Judge
prosecution.
John, what I will say about Judge John Roach Jr. is that he announced a couple months back that
Oh, okay.
he would not be seeking another term. However, we have seen judges do this time and time again when they're
That's a good
when
question.
they're not contested. He has never been contested in his seat. He's never been contested in the seat. And if we're saying that we have a lot of people registered to vote, then we need Collin County to show up, and we need Collin County to say, you know what, we can put a write-in candidate on there. Or we need to absolutely know exactly who is running for that seat in this gubernatorial. Because
I
go ahead.
I like this question. How do we help heal and unify? I like that question. Um, but that question is very difficult for me to answer. How do we help heal and unify? That question is very difficult because
I don't think the
personally,
question, I personally don't think that question is for us. I think that question
exactly.
is for, I don't think that's for people that look like me. Because I think that my natural existence in this world is to unify. My natural existence is to be democratic. My natural existence is to be fair, balanced, and equal. What we're here because the judge wasn't fair, balanced, and equal. That's a unity. That's a mechanism of unity. We're here because the state prosecution sold Karmelo up to sold Karmelo as a murderer. We're here
So
because
So it's
because they need to answer that question.
so at Mandy says it takes all sides to come together. But Mandy, in order for all sides to come together, there has to be an honest acknowledgement of what actually happened
There you go.
in this situation.
And people want to continuously gaslight us, like we do not see what you see. Like you we there was 21 witnesses. Now let me be very clear. All the young teenagers, whether it was Paul, Jalen, Eddie, man, there's a lot of boys that went up. Andy, no matter if they all corroborated against one person, then that should let you know
There's
where
no
we
room for unity right there.
there's no room for unity, because all they had to do was tell the truth. All they had to do is tell the truth. And I think the true reason why we can't get there is because we're asking the wrong people. We're asking the people that usually bring the solutions and the unity to the world. You got to ask them. You got to ask them why they couldn't unite behind the truth.
So
You ask them why
so
it's so easy to lie. And
so I got an answer to that question. I have an answer to that question, Mandy. How do we help heal and unify, right? We help heal and unify when those that oppress openly admit that they are the bullies.
right,
We unify when racist people understand that they are being racist.
right,
We can unify when people decide to do self accountability as opposed to deflection.
right,
Like we can unify when we recognize that when humans recognize that they wrong a person and they decide to do something about it. Like they decide to right that wrong as opposed to consistently digging deeper and validating that wrong with any kind of excuse whatsoever. That is the only way to be able to unify. So as you were to try to teach someone that, how would you do it? So if I was going to try to teach somebody self accountability, right, I would have to use myself as an example, right? It's not it's it's telling a person, it's talking a person through, okay? What exactly happened?
right.
No,
Acknowledge it.
no,
I
stop.
really agree with you.
What exactly happened on your part? Don't talk about anybody else's part. Talk about your part. What role did you play in this circumstance? And then when that person, and then tell that person, don't answer me. Answer yourself. Answer yourself. What role did you play? Now, a person who is able to hold themselves accountable is going to take the time and think to themselves, okay, this is the role that I played. Then you ask the person to measure themselves, right? What could you have done differently? Then you ask a person, why did you feel you needed to do that? Why did you need to cause that kind of harm to that individual? Was it necessary? What end goals did you want to get from causing harm to somebody else? Basically, we have to teach people to ask themselves, why are they bullies?
Right. And a lot of you got to understand too, bullying conversations in certain communities is very taboo. It's a taboo conversation because a lot of children do not like to bring those real world issues home with them, because they don't want to be considered they don't want to be considered somebody that can't stand up for themselves, or maybe they just don't have the tools on how to utilize conflict resolution. I mean, I think a lot of this stuff starts at home. I think with Carmelo, the reason why we know that he was raised in a two-parent household, he comes from a good background and a good family. I think the Metcalf brothers had a family until the mom and the dad divorced, because of the things that the dad was doing, and also because of the dad's history, being jailed, and being charged with what he was charged with as far as sexual misbehavior. So I think you have to look at like how these kids raised, and I think that's what's so shocking about the verdict with Carmelo Anthony, is because he didn't have a record. He never been arrested, never had a ticket in his life. At the time of the interaction and the stabbing, he was a juvenile. So a juvenile first time offender getting shipped off to prison for 35 years, I think that is the reason why community is not trying to hear the fact that we need to have a conversation and come all together. How can you do that when you see a grave travesty, an injustice like that, when you know that he had the right to use stand your ground, you know that he had the right to use self-defense, and you had a defense who was not great at all. Mike Howard and Toby Shook did not do him any kind of service, and the state prosecution, Greg sex offender Willis, him no didn't do him no service either. Like, both sides to me were just were not helpful to Carmelo. And I think that's why so many people are coming together to say he deserved a fair trial. Because at the end of the day, we're not saying he didn't commit the crime. One, we're not saying he didn't stab somebody. Two, we're not saying that he didn't defend himself. Three, we are saying that he was assaulted before the stabbing, because he was being assaulted by multiple people that was 3 times his weight. So he feared for his life, and he should be able to argue that in the court of law. And in that trial that lasted only 7 days, one of the fastest nationwide trials I've ever seen and been a part of, justice was not served. A fair trial was not given. A fair trial was not given. I'm going to say it again. A fair trial was not given. And now we have to go into an appeal process, because now the world sees selective information was left out. The entire video was not shown. The video that was shown was grainy. The forensic media expert said that the government told him only to zoom in on certain things. So we know there wasn't a fair trial given when your witnesses answered the questions exactly the same. You know what I mean? And that is what we're saying. And I think if people could really get it through their head, we're asking for a fair trial. Because if he would have been any other race, he would have been given criminal negligence
Negligence.
or manslaughter.
And that carried 2 to 10.
Period.
Yeah.
Period.
I
And
think also, a lot of people right now that wanted to see Carmelo crucified don't realize that they have a bullying heart in nature either.
yeah,
Like, I'm looking at some of these comments,
right.
right? Just with us speaking up, like with me, just with me speaking up and saying that was bullying gone wrong. Carmelo did not deserve that type of sentencing, nor did he deserve that type of charge, right? I have people calling me racist for saying that.
Right, because who are you to think that you deserve a fair day in court?
Well, no, well, what it is I believe that they actually believe that they were in some way their ethnicity was insulted because Austin died in that situation. I believe that they believe that 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 was a slap in their face, that they lost one of their own,
I mean,
right?
that's exactly what happened. But at the end of the day, it doesn't mean that you are not allowed a fair trial and a fair.
No, well, yeah, that part, but to put it in layman terms, every insult does not require retaliation.
Yeah. So now that's why I said they're on a retaliation. This is all retaliation. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? That's why
it was retaliatory because Austin Metcalf lost his life.
it's been.
There was no, okay, well, let's really have a conversation about the how, and the why, which is generally what happens in a case like this. You talk about the how, you talk about the why, and you prove intent. That's generally what happens. And it didn't. And it did not happen because people wanted Carmelo's blood.
Adults,
They wanted, adults
adults,
wanted to retaliate against a child
right,
that was in a situation where bullying went wrong.
right. Yeah,
And
it was
that,
a little
and that's
teenage
period.
thing that turned into an adult thing.
And another thing, every challenge does not require proving your toughness.
Exactly. I honestly let me be very clear. As a boy mom, I don't think I would tell my child not to defend himself. I have told my child, defend yourself if you have to, because if you're in fear for your life, that's just what you need to do. You know what I mean? And but now we see that black boys do not have the same rights. Um, then we see we have to have a different kind of conversation with our children. Like the young lady said outside the courthouse on last Tuesday. She said, "I have sons. What do I tell my sons? What do I tell my sons who are seeing this? What do I tell them?" And I think there's a conversation that we have to have in the household first. We can't bring it to the bigger, larger community until we have it with our kids.
Because the only thing that I could think that the only thing that I think that could be said somewhere in Collins County to black boys and black girls is stay away from them.
Absolutely stay away
Stay
from.
the heck away from them.
But
Like
most of our kids are in sports. Most of our kids are in sports.
it right, but stay away. If they want to be your friend, don't be their friend, because being their friend can lead to your death.
Right.
Being their friend can lead to you being incarcerated for the rest of your life or for half of your life.
But also
Don't befriend them.
they need, and that might be one method. However, I also feel I teach my son, look, if somebody wants to be your friend and they're showing you that they have, that they understand and have the discernment to understand what it is to be a friend, and they're not putting you in harm's way or trying to have proxy over your autonomy. Like if somebody naturally wants to be your friend, be their friend, no matter who they are, no matter what ethnicity.
Well,
But
my whole point is that dude Eddie. Like, and this is just me being real. That dude Eddie that
yeah,
I keep hearing y'all talk about, he wasn't a
yeah.
friend, and Carmelo
I
should
think he
not
wasn't a
have.
friend.
Carmelo should not have given him the time of day. If
No,
Carmelo had not
absolutely.
given him the time of, if Carmelo had not given him the time of day, right? Carmelo had such a good heart. He had such a good heart, right? I don't blame
Yeah,
him for being friendly.
because he did places that he used to spend.
I don't blame Carmelo for showing himself to be friendly, right? But it just feel like because of everything that keep happening, we as black people just cannot always show ourselves to be friendly. Like sometimes we just have to be like, nah, you associate with people that look at me as if I'm a monkey. You associate with people that have no problem bullying me, and you are powerless to defend me, and you're not going to defend me. I think when we don't teach
Yeah, and
our
I think on
children
I
that
think
truth, we do. I think when we don't teach our children that truth, and when we don't activate that truth, and I'm gonna give you an example. I was in Nashville airport yesterday. No, on the way. I was in Nashville on airport on Friday. No, Saturday. I was in airport on Saturday. And I'm sitting there and I'm minding my own business. There's one other black guy across from me, and everybody else in there is white. Like they chalk people. These two white guys sitting right behind
girl,
me,
not the talk.
they talking loud as all get out, right? They talking loud as all get out about President Obama. And they see me sitting there. They see this black guy sitting there. And in my opinion, I felt like they were really trying to antagonize me. I feel like they were really trying to bait me, especially when they started talk when
No,
they
absolutely,
decided
they
to
were trying to
mention
bait.
Michelle, when they decided to mention Michelle Obama. I knew then that they were trying to antagonize me. Now, if I wasn't the person that I am to be like, I know exactly what it is that you're doing, and I'm not gonna fall for it. But even in certain situations, that would not have been enough. Because if they really wanted to antagonize me, they would have gotten up and come over there, and they would have just did what they wanted to do. You can't
Right, but I
stop.
feel like
You can't validate a bully. You can't unify with a bully. You just can't. And racism
you
is
gotta get away
bullying.
from a bully.
Being racist is being a bully. And I don't care how nice you put it or how subtle it is or how you try to paint it to be something that is not. Like racism is being a bully. And you can put as many black people up front that you want to put up front, right? Like Trump got his black picks too.
Yeah, I mean, we can call them tokens or whatever euphemism you want to use, but I think for me, like, yes, you have to absolutely separate yourself from a bully, but there's also some things that the community can do, and I think we've talked about that, and I think we have to run interference on some of these interactions. No different than if you see you as a black boy mom, I have seen fights about to happen, and I've been like, hey, we're not doing this today. We're not doing this today. You know what I mean? Like as a community, we have to run interference. As a community, we have to practice patience because we were once teenagers too. We were, but what we can't do and what certain people need to have conversations with their kids about is we can't put our goddamn hands on people.
And we also have to understand who the true victim is in a bullying situation, and we have to protect the victim of the bully.
Right.
We have
But
to.
stop,
Like,
people got to stop putting hands on people.
right, like Austin,
You,
Austin
you
is
would feel
deceased.
like, you know what I mean? But I'm just saying, whether it's Austin or another baby, you have to teach your children to not put hands on other
On
children.
other children.
We
That's
teach
it.
we teach children that when they're little.
Teach your children every confrontation does not require a response. Every insult does not require retaliation. Every challenge
Every
does
insult does
not
not
require
require
proving
retaliation.
your
That's it.
every challenge does not require proving your toughness, and one decision made in anger can create a lifetime of consequences.
Right.
Like
Because this
we have
is
a mentor, Tamara, we have a mentor campaign going on right now where we started knocking on doors and talking to people last year and asking them just about have they ever, the simple question, have you ever been in a situation where you was bullied or somebody you know was bullied or you saw somebody get bullied? Do you know how many adults said that they were getting bullied right now on the job?
yeah. But look. We've seen that has been embedded into the case. We know that there was 6 women who used to work for the Collin County Courthouse who were sexually bullied. That's a whole different level of bullying, right? Who were sexually bullied by the Collin County DA, Greg Willis. They all had to come together and file a lawsuit against him because they couldn't take it no more.
But he is still the what?
He resided over the trial. He was the state
That's
prosecutor.
what I mean when I say we don't protect the victims.
Right. They absolutely didn't care about those women, and I still feel bad for them. And wherever they are, wherever you might be, for all of those women that were victims of abuse by the Collin County DA, I feel horrible for them.
We hold the victim accountable.
Instead of holding the bully or
Accountable.
the deviant or the abuser
We,
accountable.
yeah, we hold the victim accountable, and that's something that I'm gonna say like 5% of the conversation that I had went something like this. Well, I don't really blame the bully, right? I blame the person that's getting bullied because you need to get tough and fight back. You don't just take it. You get tough and you fight back. Well, no. A person with a soft heart, a person with a kind heart, a person that don't know how to fight, a person that's hella afraid is not going to fight a bully back. And
Yeah,
that's sad
and I think
because
Carmelo was extremely afraid.
he was
He was
extremely
afraid because
afraid.
it was so many boys. I think we're still imagining that the interaction was just him and Austin. No, it was him, Austin, Hunter, 2 other boys, and then 2 boys that walked up. So you mean would you be afraid if people surrounded you?
I'm gonna be honest, I would not only be afraid, but I would feel something inside of me would tell me it's time to fight. Like in that flight or fight, I think in that situation, my ego would probably be like, okay, I don't think running is the safest thing for me right now because they gonna catch me. It's kind of like how the people tell you if a stray dog come up on you, you can't show fear to that stray dog. You have to look that stray dog in the eyes and be ready to do whatever, right? Because if you show fear, that stray dog is going to attack you. But if you show bravery, there is a chance that that stray dog will back up off of you.
Well, with Carmelo described to them that there would be a threat if they didn't back up.
I
So
don't think he described. I don't think.
I do, I
I
do.
don't think that was a threat. I don't think that
I
was a
didn't say it
threat.
was a threat. I said he described to them what would happen if they didn't use discretion and leave him alone. That's why he said
He gave a warning.
he gave that warning. So that if somebody's giving a warning, that means they're trying to de-escalate a situation.
Exactly. Touch me and find out because I am at that point to where I am sick and tired of being bullied by y'all. Like I'm just sick and tired of being bullied by y'all. And now is the time for me to stand up. So I need you to back down because this is the
And
last day that you gonna bully me. And I heard a young man say that, and right after he said that, he took a gun to school. And you
wow,
want to know something? I put myself in that situation. I was 13 years old when these twins was bullying me.
right,
I took a butcher knife to school.
wow,
I took a butcher knife to school. The only thing that saved me because then my mind was made up.
right
My
up,
was made up. I'm going to school. Today is the last day. If they put their hands on me, somebody getting cut.
Period. Because I'm not going to
Because at
continuously
some
take
point,
this
when you don't,
abuse.
at some point, when you don't have somebody who is like a mental health counselor that you can go to, that you can talk to, that can give you resolutions.
Right.
What saved me was I got bullied that same day because I didn't have that many clothes. And I accidentally wore the same shirt 2 days in a row.
Right.
And the person who bullied me was somebody that I liked. So I was embarrassed to the point of leaving campus,
Right.
walking across the street to crack infested apartments, and we're just walking through those apartments, waiting on time to pass by for it to be 3 o'clock and I can walk home. Because I couldn't go home in the middle of the school day because my mom would have been like, what you doing here? And then if I would have told her I was scared, what you scared of? I'm not raising no punk,
Wow.
right? Like we don't teach our children self-defense. We don't teach our children the proper self-defense because we wasn't taught the proper self-defense.
Right.
You cannot teach what you never taught yourself. And we was never taught to protect the victim. We
Never.
was always taught to blend in so that you don't become a victim.
So let's talk about protecting the victim. Do you feel like the community protected Karmelo in this process? Do you feel
Not
like
at all.
why
Not at all.
why you say that?
I don't feel that they protected him because one, we gave up too easy.
What that
When
mean?
it came time,
Let me
when
see.
they said when they froze the GoFundMe, the only thing that was said was when they froze the GoFundMe, the only thing that was said was well, don't donate anymore because they froze the GoFundMe. Nobody tried to figure out another way around getting that money to the family,
Oh,
even
solution.
if it was to pay for the attorney, pay the attorney directly. Like just send the money directly to the attorney's Zelle account. Or help, go to the church, take all the money to the church, and have the preacher drive and give it to them. We didn't come up with a solution for that.
So
Another way I feel like we failed on was
uh-huh.
we chose whoever told them to get that attorney was dead wrong.
Right.
He should have had an attorney that did not practice in Collins County. And the reason that I say he shouldn't have had an attorney that practiced in Collins County was because just about all those defense attorneys in Collins County are court appointed, meaning they have their private practice for the ones who are not considered poor. They have their private practice. But for the ones who are considered poor, those
Indigent.
same attorneys get appointed. And here's what happens if you piss off a judge. If you piss off a judge and don't do what that judge wants you to do, that judge is no longer going to appoint you cases. And if the judge doesn't appoint you cases and you don't get private cases, then you end up hungry. You end up starving. You end up with no money at all.
So you got to be submissive to what the judge wants and tolerant of making sure you care more about the state than you do your client, even though you're supposed to mercilessly defend your client, even in front of the state, even in front of the judge. And that is where I want to sit for a minute, because we need a real coming to Jesus moment about the community activism and community organizing in the city of Dallas around the Karmelo's case. I do too, like you, feel like a lot of community failed Karmelo, but I also feel like the community was given the inaccurate information by an organizer, an advocate that put himself out there as an advocate and organizer. Because if we just being real about it, if we want to have a real conversation tonight, we have to say, look, Why didn't we build out our own campaign around this criminal trial and this self-defense case? I feel like there was one organization who says that they're the biggest civil rights organization in North Texas, which is absolutely incorrect. There was one organization who boxed so many people out of the Carmelo Anthony case. And that is where I feel like we were wrong, and we could have stood up for the Anthony family better. When you have people lying on local advocates and spreading misinformation on attorneys and putting amounts of money out there, like, first of all, you're an advocate, you're not even supposed to touch the legal aspect of this and telling people how much people charge and all that, and conversations you were having. The family should have been going directly to these attorneys. So you have to understand, like, the community, we are here for civil rights issues to be a pipeline between the problem and the solution, and give that community the solution so
But
then the community can move forward with how we attack this. And
but
so,
sis, but sis, this is what we gonna have to end on this one though, because it's an hour 41 minutes in. But we forget, or we neglect to admit, or we choose to be blinded by the fact that organizers are bullies too.
yeah, they can be in certain instances, because I actually feel bad. I feel so sad for Kayla and Drew Anthony, because the Anthony family was bullied on all sides. Imagine taking on the weight of white privilege. Imagine taking on the bully weight of local organizers and activists. Like, they were bullied on all sides. I feel like their attorneys and the state bullied them at the same time. I feel like advocates bullied them. They are being bullied so bad right now, and it breaks me.
It's sad. When you ask me why do I feel like we failed, why do I feel like community failed, Carmelo, is because when I hear things like there were an organizer and an organization that pushed other people out that wanted to help.
Right.
When we have the mindset that only one organization can do it,
That's it.
we lose ourselves.
That's it.
When our ego get in the way, we lose ourselves,
That's it.
and we end up losing the cause.
That's
And
it.
in this moment, the cause led to Carmelo Anthony being
Being over
sentenced to
sentenced,
35 years.
wrongly charged and over sentenced, wrongly charged and over sentenced.
But sis, I gotta get rid. I gotta go. I gotta go. But will you let me come back?
No, absolutely. I absolutely enjoyed our long conversation. I'm glad whoever, when y'all see this video, listen, it is going to show you exactly what we're talking about in each segment, so you can go back and forth. We'll upload these videos to our platforms outside of YouTube as well, so you can see them. And if you have any questions from what we discussed, put it in the thread that the video will be in. We are still going to be taking questions. We're still going to be answering questions. And I would love for you to come back on, Coretta, so we can keep, as community leaders, taking the steps to protect Carmelo and get him this appeal. I think we'll be having way more conversations around what are next steps in the appeal process, because on June 26th, I think they have to have something submitted to the courts. So I would love for you
Why
to come.
does it have to be so fast?
within 30 days you have to have within 30 days you have to be telling the courts exactly what your appeal is going to be about.
Oh, okay,
And
okay.
that's why it takes most people so long to get it, because they usually don't have an attorney after they just fought for their life, right? So I'm just grateful that we will be
Because my appeal took an entire year.
huh?
My appeal took an entire. I think it was like a year and 2 months.
Right. Did you submit your first layer of appeal 30 days?
I don't know what they did. I didn't have nothing to do with it.
But yeah, so I'm glad the family is being very persistent by doing this quickly. I think that's better than where we were this time last year. So I would love for you to come back on so we can give updates on
I
what's going on with the Anthony family and where Carmelo is in his appeal, and just seeing the feedback that his family is giving. Drew